Council on Aging requests a one-day wine and malt beverage permit for two events, Saturday, February 14th, dinner dance, 5 to 10, Saturday, March 14th, St. Patrick's Day dinner, 5 to 8.
So moved.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yep. And then we've got Medfield Music Association requests permission to post signs advertising February 4 event, The Sing-Off, a vocal contest for middle and high school students. The Bostonians of Boston College will also perform.
And so moved on that also?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep. Selectmen's reports, Mr. DeSorga.
Just several things. I attended the warrant committee meeting when they had both the chiefs there for the public safety committee. That both chiefs, I thought, did a great job making the presentation, along with the building committee. The warrant committee had a number of questions, but they seemed to be, I think, positive on the presentation. I also attended the solid waste study committee. There were two citizens that had different issues, one dealing with if we now have a better contract with, what is it, Wheel Liberator?
Yeah.
And we're saving some money. His point was, could the town relax or do away with the $50 fee? He said a fee goes on but never goes away. And the committee kind of felt that for $50, it was not a large burden for people, and it kind of offset those that use the landfill. Plus, they said if you have the sticker, it prevents out-of-town people from coming in. So he seemed to agree with the solid waste committee on that. The other citizen had an issue with the long line, especially on Wednesday. Only one of the compactors of the single stream is open, and at certain times why couldn't both be open, and they try to explain that because of the heavy loads on the weekend, they try to make sure that one of those compactors is always empty, so they just have one at a time. When that fills, and they go to the other one.
Oh, so they have like two empty ones pretty much on Saturday?
So then you can put in.
Yeah.
They don't want to run into having a compactor get full on a Saturday inadvertently.
No, if you have two that are half full,
Yeah.
and then they fill up, and Saturday the lines are down to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dale Street.
Yeah.
But I'm just very impressed with the solid waste committee, the work that they do, and their efforts on that. Couple of pending things. I know you're sick of me bringing this up, but any more word on that farm in Harding Street letter to the MBTA?
No, but I will get going
Get
on
on
that.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They probably can't do anything till spring anyhow. What's the latest on the cell tower? Do we have anything more on that? RFP?
Yeah, my understanding is both the proposals for the Dover cell tower have fallen through, and that we will be going forward with an RFP on the,
For the water tower.
for the water tower, yeah.
So that'd be good.
And I know I mentioned you, but just quickly, anything more on the CSX Main Street crossing? We had I believe it was a state transportation that was supposedly going to look at it. Have we heard anything more from him?
The chief's been away, and since he got back, I don't know if you noticed the trucks out front, but they've been working on the traffic signals.
Right.
So I don't think he's really had a chance to look into that, but I'll check with him and find out where that stands. I don't think there's anything more he's heard on it since he reported the last time.
And then I received a couple of calls of people, again, concerned on that rumors from the express commuter train that was going to go to Foxborough. This was a different take on that. This person said that there's articles in the Manchester, New Hampshire paper that's saying that the line, New Hampshire is looking to appropriate money to run the train from Manchester, New Hampshire to Framingham, and then from Framingham to Foxborough, which of course would take it through Medfield. So I contacted Representative Dooley. I'll just briefly read. Not only that proposal, but the other proposal that apparently is going to go through, that CSX is going to sell the entire Framingham to Mansfield line to the MBTA. That apparently is going through. And the third rumor is that they would not use the Framingham to Walpole section, but they would run the train on the Franklin line to Walpole, and then a line from Walpole to Foxborough.
Oh, I see what you mean.
That would
yeah.
eliminate Medfield. So There's all kinds of rumors that are out there, but Representative Dooley said that he's been in touch with Congressman Kennedy, trying to kill the sale on the federal level. Other reps are working with Congressman Lynch. He's trying to set up a meeting with the new Transportation Secretary as soon as he gets sworn in. According to Representative Dooley, they're fighting this on multiple levels and will be very aggressive in making sure it's not funded. So there's all kinds of rumors out there, but I know our 3 reps are at least working on that. I don't know, Mike, if you've heard anything more on that.
No, the other article, rumor I've heard is that there's a much better route if you want to take train traffic from Worcester to Providence. There's a much more direct route. I believe it goes through Woonsocket. And it's a much easier route, fewer grade crossings and whatnot, so. I don't understand where the T is always complaining about being broke. How can they go out and buy these rail lines and they don't have
$23
specific
million.
purposes for, yeah.
Yeah, they're just
can't
so
imagine.
unrealistic with what they
Yes.
do.
I can't imagine they would start up a new line, because it would not be economic. About 20 years ago, the T came out and had a presentation at Medfield High School about whether they'd run the line out from Needham out to Medfield and beyond, and
Yeah,
the
same.
guy from the T said, we would never do this in a million years,
Right.
because it's uneconomic unless the
Yes.
politicians ordered us to do it.
Yeah, yeah, and that may be what is being,
Maybe Mr.
Contemplated
Pratt has
here.
friends.
yes, yes.
But, you know, it'd be horrific.
Depends on whether they win. Yeah, it depends on whether they win the game in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You might have a lot more friends, so.
So I think I know there's citizens
think-
concerned, especially those that live along that track,
Yeah.
that we are aware of that, and
I think when our representative's coming out, we might ask them for an update on that next week.
that
So
would be a good way.
maybe we ought to call them and ask them to be prepared to discuss that, so.
And then I just wanted to update you quickly, and I have a meeting with the 3 utility people tomorrow, but we're getting there. This is the slowest process I've seen here, but we're down to 29 poles, double poles that are in town, including a number on Main Street, but they've removed a number. They've been working the past couple of weeks, and they've removed quite a few out of Main Street this past couple of weeks. So we're down to about 29. There's one large group that remains on Fairview, and they explained to me that they, I mentioned last time, have to replace all the wires because the wires are outdated. So Fairview is probably going to be last. I'm real concerned with the pole, for example, on Oak Street. That's a narrow street that juts out into the street. I'm concerned about the one on South Street by Brothers Market, and just the ones on Main Street. So we're getting there. They work slowly, but I'll keep the pressure on them. We're down to 29 from 108.
Pretty good. That's very good.
Thank you for doing that, Richard.
And there was an article, I'll just throw this out, and maybe Mike could follow up to our rep, but in today's Globe, there's an article from the Selectmen on the Cape Cod towns. I guess NSTAR has started chemical spraying
Chemical
again,
spraying,
which they
sure.
had a 4-year moratorium on. And a number of neighbors on the Capes are raising concerns about rashes and water concerns of their water supply, and the Selectmen on those Cape towns are asking for a greater representation. So I'm just not sure if they're doing that in Medfield or not. Can we find that out?
Yeah, Eddie Hinckley keeps a pretty close eye on that, so I'll check with him. They sent us their spraying plan a few weeks ago, and we forwarded that. I think we had it on the agenda, and we forwarded that down to Eddie, so.
He's going to report back to us on that, if that's...
Well, if there's any concerns, he'd get back to you on it, but I'll check with him to make sure that there's no change from what's been done,
Okay.
or if there is, to let you know.
I'm a little confused with the fact, I read the article this morning, the woman got, that she had a reaction to that. But, I mean, these guys that work for NSTAR spray all day long, so,
But I think
You
they're all
wouldn't-
covered in suit things and stuff.
well, I don't know, he's not wearing a
He's not
mask.
wearing
or
a
mask.
respirator.
No,
No.
so I wouldn't, so it's hard for me to think that
Yeah, I
there's
don't know.
anything wrong with that, because you got 3 or 4 guys that, they do that all day long. Walk up, spraying stuff, you would hard to believe that there was any issues
Well,
with that, but whatever.
there are some people that have reactions to the cell towers. And, it's,
Yeah,
Not that have been legally proven yet.
No, no, no.
Well, I just want to make sure, especially the people that live along those areas, and plus we have our wells by Wheelock that are near there. I just want to make sure there's no issue before they go ahead and do that. And I just want to make a thanks to, I guess Hank Marcel, but a crew of people that took all those lights down. I was out there walking, I got to talk to them, I think it was Saturday. It was Chip Lennon and Chief Kingsbury and Neil O'Connor and Hank Marcel and others that took all those lights down. They just do a great job.
And they unfortunately had about the coldest day to
Yeah.
take
it was-
'em down.
Yeah. And the last thing was that, just to follow up, whatever we're gonna do with Metacom, I just wanna make sure the neighbors there hear about it directly from us. So whether we can send some kind of a notice to them or set a time that we can bring them in before we begin this process. Ken seems to feel it's a fairly easy job, so that they know about it, they're not hearing about it secondhand, because it's their neighborhood. So whether to
Yeah, I know.
notice or just,
Well, when we did South Street Extension, I know Ken went to great lengths. He met with every single resident in the street several times to go over what was proposed on each of their properties, and he's very good about doing that. Yeah, and as he said, there's only about 10 houses you're talking about, if that many, yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure I'll mention that to him, and
You know, I would just mention that, you mentioned that Chief Kingsbury was out there helping Hank Marcel. He is always doing stuff like that. I bumped into him maybe 3-4 weeks ago. I was jogging up at the state hospital, and what was it? It was when they had the guys who were buttoning up the hospital, and I had seen the chief driving the other way, and so I just waved at him. But then when I was jogging up around the hospital, all of a sudden he was there, and I realized he's the guy who, you know, we're buttoning up the hospital, and somehow it falls on Chief Kingsbury to administer what we're doing up there, and he was the one that was up there, so he always seems to do those extra things.
and he's the
Well, he
last,
really
beyond.
works, he really works 7 days a week.
yes, and he's the last person that would want to let you know about it,
Yeah.
or want people to know about it, so he's,
He does.
The best thing is when they were moving the Low Mason house, it was Chief Kingsbury that was up cutting the branches, because the house couldn't quite go down Green Street.
Yeah,
And he was up in the bucket truck himself,
yeah.
cutting the limbs so the house could get by, so
yeah,
he does a million things. And
yeah.
that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mark?
Just a couple quick fun things, bunch of meetings over the last couple of weeks or so, but as Pete had alluded to, I was also able to attend the Medfield State Hospital Planning Committee meeting last week and stuff on Wednesday, and or almost 2 weeks ago on the 7th, so that was good. They had a guy that had a great talk about visioning and planning and the big picture and what you're looking for housing, so I think that was very inspirational. I thought it really gave everyone a big boost,
Yeah,
kind of thinking of
yeah.
the big picture and looking towards the future and
I'm
what could
having-
be up there.
I'm having trouble synchronizing his single-person households with what I heard tonight.
Yeah,
And
But
the,
they'll figure it out.
Yep.
The Memo had their monthly dinner meeting a couple weeks or so ago, and of course, it's always a big event. We get a extra, we always go down to the VFW to have a little extra room because it's our annual State of the Union address when Michael comes and speaks to the membership and tells what's going on in the town of Medfield. So it's always very well attended. Everyone looks forward to it. It's the highlight of the year, really, for everyone.
It's a lot of fun. You get some good questions, and it's a good crowd.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. And the last thing, just two fun thing, was just Woodland Theater Company had their winter production of Sweeney Todd on Saturday night, and they also did a fundraiser kind of at the same time too. So it was very well attended. They do a great job, obviously, there in the high school auditorium. It works out well. So next up in May is the Titanic, is their musical and stuff. So nice to have, like I said, as I mentioned a million times, nice to have the arts in Medfield, just another component there, and it's nice to have them around. It makes for another fun thing for people to do on a weekend night. And that's it.
so I'll start off with the Medfield Cares About Prevention meeting that I went to. And unlike the happy things you were reporting on, the representative, the Medfield resident, David Traub, who works with the DA's office, was talking about the narcotics issues in the state and in Norfolk County, and
Mhm.
it is just devastating, the number of people that are dying. The opiates are the number one problem in Norfolk County now, apparently. And I asked David what the solution was, and he said more treatment beds. And so that's gonna be, I think, a big challenge for Governor Baker, who says that, he mentions that as a big issue, but apparently you gotta spend some money on treatment beds. And there's no money at the state. They're lacking just under $1 billion.
Yeah,
But
we're a little short this year.
Medfield Foundation had a meeting, and we had a very good angel run result in terms of raising monies for the families in need in Medfield, so that was very good to hear. The Volunteer of the Year, the Medfield Foundation Volunteer Awards, is going to take place on March 22nd, and the nominations, if anybody wants to make nominations of those extraordinary volunteers in town for either the Volunteer of the Year or the Youth Awards or the Lifetime Achievement Awards, those are due in by the end of January. The Energy Committee met and had the Water and Sewer Board member, Christian, is it Carpenter?
Yeah,
Christian
yeah,
Carpenter
yeah.
come in and talk about the photovoltaic. It was fascinating because the Energy Committee had commissioned a study by Solar Design Associates for the photovoltaic installation at the wastewater treatment plant, and the people on the Water and Sewer Board are these business engineering minds that just grab this detail and just run with it and analyze it even more. I wasn't quite sure at first where they were going with it, but I guess they think it's still a good idea and makes sense economically. But they just wanted more detail, I guess, in terms of to get comfortable with it.
And it looks like the detail's very positive. I mean, positive cash flow the first year of the facilities in operation, which is really far, more than we anticipated after the first study. I guess they left out something called SREC credits,
Sure.
which are marketable. You can sell to
Yeah.
companies that need to
Yeah.
purchase a certain amount of their energy as from non-polluting sources, so they will pay a market price, and it can range from anywhere from $50 to $200 a credit.
And the installation at the wastewater treatment plant, the town will own it, and so that the owner gets the SRECs, and
Yep.
so that we'll be able to sell those and make money out of those, so it looks better. Then there was a presentation by some commercial outfit called Solar Flare that wants to basically come into town, as I understood it, and be sort of the solar photovoltaic promoter for the town of Medfield. And I guess the more people you get to sign up, the better, the lower the discounts go. And then we met the energy manager. Seems like a really good person that Mike hired for, the facilities
Yes.
manager person.
Mm.
And then, the last thing I'd report on was that I had a mini town hall meeting at the old Village Square development last week. And there were a lot of people that showed up, first of all. Second of all, they wondered about the fact that they pay a lot of taxes because they have expensive properties, but they don't get much in the way of town services. They don't even get their street plowed. And I was guessing that was probably something that the planning board or the zoning board of appeals had extracted as a condition of the permitting. Mike tells me that there are other developments like that in town, like Prentice Place and Wilkins Glen, and that don't get their plowing done.
The one at the end of South Street on Main Street right there, they do their own plowing. The new 40B on West Street would do their own plowing. There's quite a number of them around town that are responsible for their own plowing. And usually it's set up by the planning board because the developer doesn't want to build to town standards. So in essence, they're putting in driveways rather than roads.
It's just a big driveway.
And that's why the town doesn't want to assume maintenance. It would be like us assuming maintenance on a private way that wasn't built to town standards.
Yep.
So once you own it forever, so.
Well, just like a condo complex, if you lived in a condo
Yeah.
complex, you
Right.
don't expect the town to plow the parking
Yes.
lot there, of course not. No.
Right. And I believe
With
it's
the
in their
edge and
deed.
everything, they have their own,
Sure.
they-
And I believe it's in their deeds as well.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, they would have known about that.
So that was all of my stuff. Informational material, Mike, Chris?
Yeah, a couple of things. One, we'll have to be opening the warrant for the special town meeting, probably first or second meeting in February, I would think,
Yeah,
in order to get the warrant to print. And it looks like there'll be 2 articles now for that instead of 1.
that's great.
And they'll
good
both
idea.
be bonding issues, so it kind of keeps it to the debt service.
And for those of you that want to mark your calendar, the special town meeting is going to be on March 23, is it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a week prior to the town election, which will be March 30th.
Yeah.
Couple of other things.
Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Harney?
Wasn't clear. We didn't hear you, Mike. What did you
Please.
say about the warrant closing?
He didn't
No,
hear you.
I was talking about the warrant opening for the special town meeting. The warrant for the annual town meeting will close next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah.
You open up for a special?
The special, yes. It will open the special and then probably leave that open for 2 weeks and then close that.
And the special is for?
It's for the public safety building and for the solar photovoltaic installation at the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay.
Okay.
That's in anticipation of the voting in March.
Yes, well, you only need the voting for the public safety. The solar photovoltaic is self-sufficient, but will be funded in any event out of the sewer enterprise fund, and then the revenues that are derived will offset that cost. You're welcome. The police chief informed me this morning that they had a report over the weekend that there was a gas leak in North Street, and that they have been up repairing it all weekend. I think they thought there was a leak a few days ago, and they notified the gas company, and the gas company said it must be a boiler problem, and the boiler repairman came out, couldn't find anything, so they eventually determined when the building started to fill up with gas that it was a gas leak, and they are now trying to trace down the source of it and repair it.
That's not the new construction going on there, that site.
It could be. They're not sure where it is. They're looking.
It's in
up
that
and down to
vicinity
find
though, I
it.
thought I saw it, because I
Yeah.
saw the trucks up there yesterday. when I was
There's
driving.
no other building other than the police station that was affected by it, and
Okay.
and
Oh,
that's
good.
been taken care of now. So
Okay,
now it's
good.
just a matter of locating the leak. But
Where the leak is, yeah.
they notified the police department that they had 72 hours later, that they had a Class 1 leak at 110 North Street, which is the police station.
But they told them after the fact.
After they had been on top of it for a while. There's also, as I mentioned earlier, you may have seen the trucks last week out on Main Street, and that's part of the chief's plan to redo the traffic
Good.
signals, so
Excellent.
hopefully that will show some results. Next week is a big week. It's the MMA meeting in Boston. I believe all 3 of you are signed up for that. Also on Wednesday is the award to the Medfield wastewater treatment plant that
Oh,
the
yeah,
EPA
yeah.
is issuing. So if any of you do want to go into that,
Mhm.
let me know. I'll be going in with Bob. I'll be driving and I can take someone else.
I'd like to
if
go
any.
into that. That's a week from tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. And I believe they want you there at 9:30, even though the awards aren't given out to noontime, but they want you there for photographs, I guess, early in the morning. So it'll
Oh,
probably be leaving
photographs
some.
then.
It's like going to Tree City. It takes hours to get to the end and get your award.
To get they hand it to you, the award, and that's it. And,
That's it, yeah.
okay, if you, I again ask you to review that preliminary warrant I've sent out, since there are already many changes in it. Several articles have been deleted, some have been added. If you have any articles that are not on that list that you want on the warrant, please let me know this week so I can try to get it ready
How
for
about
the
those two that
warrant.
we talked about tonight, the Community Preservation Act and raising the tax deferral to 80,000?
If you want to put those on, that's up to the board. If you would like to put those on, let me know. I can add those.
My only concern is that it's not going to come up and be defeated. You're really going to have somebody to push that.
Oh, the Community
And explain
Preservation
that,
Act?
yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100%, but I know right now what some of the arguments are going to be. And unless you have some kind of a groundswell or an organized support group.
I think the warrant committee, obviously, the warrant committee's gonna be solidly behind that. I
Oh,
think that'll
yeah.
be one key
So
constituent.
Unless you want to put a call out to see if there's somebody out there that's really, I know there's a couple of people in town that have pushed that in the past. Chris Potts and
Mhm.
Dan
Yeah.
Bible were two.
Yeah.
You-
This is short notice. I just don't want to see it defeated a second time.
It was interesting, particularly tonight, how they tied it into the housing production plan and the
Yeah.
ability to do something about senior housing. And I think probably you need some information along those lines to get support, to drum up support for it. I wonder, as Richard says, if you just go straight, let's adopt the community preservation plan, whether people are gonna say, well, I don't wanna raise my taxes unless I know exactly
Where
what it's
the
gonna
money's
be used
going.
for.
Really where the money's going for,
Yeah.
yeah, specifically, yeah.
So, think about it. If next week I can do it, if you let me know by, say next Monday,
Mhm.
I can add it onto the list. The other one was about the increasing the,
Deferral of property
yeah,
taxes by
it's too
seniors.
bad. We had Tom Sweeney here. We should have asked him if the assessors had any position on that.
Mm.
Why don't I see if they have a position, and if they have any feelings on it one way or another, I'll get it out, email it out to you, and
Yep.
you can,
Yeah, we're
Uh,
meeting with them tomorrow, so that,
yeah, that's right, we are meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, we will be interviewing tomorrow for the finalists for Stan Bergeron's
Excellent.
replacement.
Oh, excellent, good.
So, I think we have some good candidates, and
Oh, good.
I think the
Good.
assessors
So
are happy.
on both of those, I would suggest that we go forward with both of those warrant articles. I don't know about
Okay.
Richard and Mark, but the state's gonna give us 200,000 more for highway money because Governor Baker released the extra 100 million that Governor Patrick had withheld from us.
Right,
this
yeah,
fiscal year.
It's just amazing, as soon as they get in, they start spending money when we're in a deficit position, but.
Well, it's interesting
Um,
because Governor Baker has said that he's not gonna take money away from cities and towns, so I
Yeah.
don't know how he's gonna balance his budget, but I think we're gonna hear from him on Friday morning, so
Yes,
we'll
that
know
will-
then.
That will be
Maybe.
interesting, yeah, because it's, depending on who you believe, it's somewhere between $300 and $700 million deficit.
A billion.
Now, maybe on a $28 billion budget, that's not much, but it's just, to
lot of
us,
money,
it seems
yeah.
like a lot, so.
A lot of money.
Okay, what else is coming up next week? Seemed to me there was another thing coming up in Boston, but, well, I think that I'll let you know, but
The other-
I think that's about it. The traffic signals, the gas leak, I don't know if you were aware that we did have a proposal for a 72-unit assisted living facility behind the Peak House.
Mm-hmm.
There was a group that requested a meeting with a group of us last week, the police chief, the fire chief, public works director, Sarah Raposa, the building inspector, and there was a whole group of us that met with them and reviewed their proposal, and they're planning to put as I said, a 72-unit building with I think a 16 or 18-unit secure Alzheimer unit as part of it, on about 7 acres. I think the parcel is 17 acres, but they said they would use about 7 acres of it, directly behind the Clark Tavern.
Yeah.
And they have to get a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals, I believe it is. They're planning meetings with the Planning Board, the Zoning Board, the Conservation Commission, the Historic Commission.
Yeah.
As they said, we probably have to meet with every board in town, but we haven't seen any. They showed sample plans. Apparently, they were the rental agents or managers of a place in Wayland, right along 27. I forget the name of it, but it's yeah. One of the things that I asked was, would the occupants of those units be considered residents
Mhm.
And they said, yes, they would. I said, then that would increase our housing stock by 72 units.
That's right. And I mean,
And they said, yes. And I said, are you proposing any affordable units? And they said, absolutely not.
Mm.
We'd have to do it 2 or 3 times that size in order to do
Oh,
as an affordable development. So,
yeah.
so that would add 72 units to the housing stock without any compensating affordable units. And I was thinking of the inclusionary zoning that was discussed earlier.
Mm.
On the other hand, there is a need for something like that. I think
Yeah.
that's a great need for people that,
Oh, yeah.
for assisted living. For all the seniors that are getting up there. Okay, and that's about it, I think, for tonight. So, again,
Thank you.
As you plan for next meeting, I felt bad, Gus Murphy had a presentation, because I don't know what happened, but.
Yeah, we should invite Gus back.
for next
We
meeting.
we should try to plan out our calendar for the year, because our annual calendar expired at the end of December, so maybe, Mike, if you could
Yeah,
come
we
up
need
with
to
a
update
proposed
that.
annual calendar for us next Tuesday, and you'll have a set of things going forward then.
Okay, all right.
Would you be able to
We'll go
contact
Friday.
Gus?
I'm actually gonna go Friday. I know it's
Next
hard to
week?
believe, but,
When the reps are coming and the senator, you want to talk with Murby also?
Well, yeah, he was here today, it's some urgency, because they're waiting to take some action on that, so if we could have Gus, because we didn't get to him today.
Thing is, just remember that they're coming at 7 o'clock. If you tell Gus to be here at 8 and you're still talking at 8:30,
45.
right,
Don't seem to
You know,
follow our
you-
schedule very well
you
at
gotta
all.
move it
Not
along.
even close. You know?
No, we
We're
probably
on
need to
our
spread
own.
some of these apart more.
Well, we just have a few too many things I think we schedule as usual. And then they run on and on and on and on and on.
And we turned out not to be the warm-up for the president. We kind of infringed on his time. We'll have to apologize to the president for making him start
I'm
late.
sure you can watch television, the news anytime in the next 24 hours, and you'll hear it all over again.
He'll probably have a reference to the Patriots, I'm sure, tonight too.
This program was made possible through the generous support of your Medfield friends and neighbors, folks just like you. And thanks for watching.